Is that so naive? Do Harry and Meghan fib? Or is the Sussex branch of the royal family really that dim-witted to be cut off? Hello, and a very sincere thank you for stopping by the Sussex Daily News Today channel. Due to the fact that I am an American and my spouse is Indian, who received an education in British English, we have on occasion experienced some communication difficulties. On the other hand, I would estimate that more than 99% of the words that are used in the United States and the United Kingdom have the same meaning. Therefore, when Prince Harry used the words financially independent, my American brain immediately came to the conclusion that he was talking about not receiving support from anyone and making his own way in the world based on the merit of his own efforts. Someone who, for example, spent their entire career working for the family business, but in their mid-30s made the decision to pursue their own interests, has earned my utmost respect. When they complain about losing their salary and job perks, they no longer have my respect. This is especially true given that they have previously made statements about wanting to become financially independent. Prince Harry has been quoted as saying that this is his objective and goal. A year later, however, he began to make statements in which he implied that the royal family had literally cut him off financially. The meaning of those words is not immediately obvious. First things first, the couple insists that they did not have a plan for their departure, despite the fact that they had known for some time that they would be leaving. Let that sink in for a moment. They had an idea that they wanted to leave the family business and become financially independent, but they did not have a strategy for how they were going to accomplish this goal before they left the company. They didn't spend that time coming up with a strategy, did they? Meghan's alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania, is widely regarded as one of the best in the United States, in contrast to Prince Harry's less than stellar intellectual reputation. Second, there is a strong emphasis on the idea of being severed. I have heard some Sussex apologists say that Harry was not being confrontational here, but one can see from Oprah's reaction that this is not an innocent phrase used lightly. In my personal experience, when my parents stopped paying my bills, I considered myself to have achieved a level of independence and was no longer dependent on my parents. How serious were they about their desire to be financially independent, though, when they made that statement? It is possible that Harry has no idea what the concept is, but one would assume that Meghan is familiar with it. It would appear that Harry could have learned just as much from her about this topic as she could have from him about the British national anthem, but he did not think to look it up on Google. Despite this, it is abundantly clear that the expectations developed in their world did not match up with the actuality of the situation. Even if they were aware of the harsh realities of being cut off from an allowance at the age of 35, the majority of people would start to budget regardless. Instead, after being severed from one another, Harry and Meghan bought a mansion in one of the most expensive real estate markets in the United States, with a price tag of $14 million. Not only did they buy this house before they signed contracts with Netflix and Spotify, but they also did so after he reported that he had been cut off. How then did the couple, who self-identified as being environmentally conscious, afford a house that was 18,000 square feet in size for their family of 3, then later 4? Now, let's hear what Harry has to say about that. Thanks to what my mother bequeathed to me, we were able to pull this off, which would not have been possible otherwise. This indicates that he is following in the footsteps of other people who grew up with trust funds and is not yet relying on money that he has earned for himself. There are some people who enjoy complaining about Meghan's earnings from the television show Suits, but those earnings could not possibly have covered the cost of that mansion. Therefore, we cannot even begin to consider that argument. So, when Harry used the phrase financially independent, what exactly did he mean by that? Did he seriously intend to continue depending on his father for support? Was he factoring in the inheritance from his mother in his calculations? It is impossible for him to have meant either Netflix or Spotify, as Harry and Meghan have both stated that this was not the plan. Harry, on the other hand, has no concept of what it means to be financially self-sufficient. Everything that Meghan Markle did not bring into the marriage, which was no more than $1 to $5 million at the most, was not earned by Harry. Consider that he received a check totaling $500,000 after serving in the military for 10 years. The rest of his wealth was either passed down to him by his family or acquired through his position as a member of the royal family. Even the money that his mother left him actually came from his father and the rest of his family, because he inherited a portion of the amount that was paid out to her in the divorce settlement. If he was truly committed to achieving monetary autonomy, he would renounce his titles and introduce himself to the world as Harry Mountbatten Windsor. Despite the fact that Harry is quite thick, he is fully aware of the fact that apart from his connection to royalty, he has absolutely nothing else to offer. He is uneducated and lacks any skills that would make him marketable, but he makes use of his title and the fact that he is the son of Diana to promote things such as this overpriced and complete garbage better up model, which, even if it were effective, would be out of reach for the majority of companies and private individuals. But before we do that, let's take a step back. Keep in mind the interview with Oprah. When Harry is griping about money, he also talks about how his family told him there wouldn't be enough money to pay Meghan. He says that they were right, regardless of what the heck that means. Even after they were married, the Queen said that Meghan could continue working, but she did not intend to do so. Her ultimate goal was to have a few children and then travel the world working for humanitarian causes. Her salary was not sufficient to maintain such a lavish way of life. Harry's only marketable skill is his ability to humiliate and exploit his family for financial gain. It is impossible for there to be lasting peace so long as he continues to agitate the situation, because if he stops talking, he will lose his job and his family will not accept him if he comes home. Harry is not and will never be able to support himself financially on his own. It is extremely challenging to feel compassion for a person who does things such as flying around in a private jet, living in a mansion, and engaging in the sport of polo. He travels the world in his own private jet while lecturing the rest of the population on the importance of reducing pollution and our collective carbon footprint. What a champion for the environment! Someone should serve as an example for all of us, not this young man who has the IQ which is lower than a box of rocks. Harry and Meghan cherished the dream that they would win the hearts of the British public. As a result, the Queen would regard them very highly, possibly even more so than Prince William and Duchess Catherine, and give them the freedom to choose whichever patronages they felt were most appropriate for them. After that, I believe that they were dissatisfied that their assumptions about what the Queen would permit did not align with what they desired. And as a result, they protested and on purpose sabotaged whichever charity event they attended. Do you remember Harry trying to promote Meghan's narrating gigs by having a conversation with Eisner? Who is responsible for doing that at the royal charity? In all honesty, I believe that both of these events could have taken place. They could have left for one of the two reasons. First, they were upset that they did not get what they wanted, and as a result, they decided to leave. Or, second, the Queen could have fired them because she was fed up with the prince and the diva's antics. Meghan continued to be represented in the United States by all of her previous representatives, including her agent, her lawyer, and her public relations agency. The harlot used the dunderhead and his money to bolster her own brand, and she most likely told the dunderhead that she was doing it for their fictitious family. The half-wit is not much more than a tool, and his harlot has certainly put him to good use. In either case, each of them shot themselves in the foot. The remarks about not having a plan were brought up as a result of this point in the conversation. They needed to demonstrate to the Queen that they were capable of surviving independently of her influence. So they purchased a home that was significantly larger than what they actually required. Who can say for sure if the deal with Netflix ever went through? I've heard that Shonda Rhimes was offered the same deal to create content as well. In addition, she is the brains behind the long-running medical drama Grey's Anatomy, as well as other series. Now that we know this, we can confidently say that Shonda Rhimes and the Markles are in an entirely different league. Therefore, it's possible that Netflix would have offered them a deal, but only on the condition that they provide content for them to broadcast. I don't need to clarify. In order to attend a celebration such as the Jubilee, while being aware that your presence is about as welcome as an infestation of fleas, you really need to be struggling financially. The end of my news for today. What are your thoughts on the two of them together? I would appreciate it if you could let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and we can discuss them. If you think my video is helpful, please remember to give it a like and spread the word about it to anyone else who would appreciate it. In addition to this, do not be reluctant to sign up for the Sussex Daily News Today channel in order to obtain additional videos from our staff in the future. Now, I would like to say goodbye and thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow.